Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. Here we are again with another video for you, and in this video we are going to be speaking about the basics of smooth speech. Now whatever you are doing in your life, the most important thing is always the basics. If you are a master of the basics, you can be the master of that whole skill. So, number one, we are going to be speaking about the basics of smooth speech. So, if you're someone who struggles with their speech, who has a hard time with their speech, who stammer or stutter, or maybe they speak fast, or maybe they struggle to speak under high pressure situations, they struggle to speak in meetings, in interviews, in presentations, whatever sort of struggles you have with your speech, this would be an important video for you to look out for. So if you notice, the number one thing that the people who especially struggle with their speech as it relates to stammering and stuttering, what they do is that whenever they get stuck on a word, they force that word out. Let me say that again. Whenever they get stuck on a word, they try and force that word out. The more they keep doing that, the more of a habit it becomes, and the more they are used to forcing their words out. And there are many ways in which they force their words out. Some make faces, some use their feet, some just hit their feet on the floor, some just try to have their hands clapping while they speak. They just try to do something, or they try to hit themselves with their hand, or they do something. They do something in order to get that word out, in order to get the word out with which they are struggling with. Now, if you have to change your speech, and if you have to move on towards becoming a smooth and excellent speaker, guess what? The first step that we have to take is to eliminate this idea of forcing your words out, of doing whatever you do in order to force that word out. Now, I'm saying we have to eliminate it, but again, it's easier said than done. That's a fact. But I'm also going to share with you very briefly what you have to do about it. So, the number one thing that you have to do about it, and the number one thing that you have to keep in your mind, is that you have to be aware of the way that you're speaking. Let me say that again. You have to be aware of the way that you're speaking. Anything that we want to change, in this case our speech, first of all we have to be aware of what we are doing right now, or what is happening right now. Only after we know what is happening right now, then we can change it. It might sound a bit weird that be aware of your speech, be aware of the way you're speaking. What I mean by that is that be aware of the fact where you force your words out. Wherever you force a word out, or wherever you anticipate that you're going to get stuck and you think about forcing a word out, be aware of that. Be aware of what you are doing, whether you're making facial expressions, whether you're using hand claps, whether you're using your hand to hit somewhere on your body, or you're hitting your leg on the floor. Whatever you're doing, the number one thing is to be aware of that. Now, you don't have to be just aware of that, but also be aware of the speaking situations in which you are doing that the most. That is very important. The key is awareness. Where you are doing these things, where are you forcing your words out? How are you forcing your words out? How often are you forcing your words out? That is something that we have to change, and in order for it to change, the number one thing is to be aware of it. Okay, So, number one, you have to be aware of it. Very briefly, the second step is breaking the loop. Once you are aware of it, then you have to break the loop. Only if you are aware of it can you do something about it, as I just said. So, whenever you get aware of it, just stop yourself from doing that. Whenever you anticipate a hard word, you anticipate forcing a word out, just stop yourself right there. Just completely stop yourself right there. Break that loop. Whenever you start to anticipate that you're going to do it, or whenever you scan ahead and see that you're going to force a word out, just be aware of that and say. You can say it in your mind, stop, stop, stop. You don't have to do that. Now, what do you have to do? Because in order to stop this habit, we have to create a new habit. Now, what is that new habit? Look out for the next video. I'm going to be explaining in the next video what that new habit is. But for now, very briefly, just keep in mind that new habit is actually using your new speaking style. Now, what are the speaking skills that you use after you get aware of that, or how do you use your new speaking style? We are going to be discussing it very briefly inside the next video. Now, why do I say very briefly? These are short videos. I can't discuss everything that we have inside the Pro90d speech system, but what we can discuss is that I can just give you in very small chunks all the things that are present inside the system. But in order for you to change your speech, in order for you to transform your speech, in order for you to move from stammering and stuttering to becoming an excellent, amazing speaker, you would have to get inside this system. I worked on my speech with this system. Believe it or not, I was someone who could not say a word. I used to stammer pretty severely, where I was made fun of and all of the stuff that I've discussed in the previous videos. As I said, but when I started working on the system, I not only reached a place where I don't get stuck, I have reached a place where I see myself as a very, very good speaker. Now, sometimes I might get stuck, but so what? Everybody in this world gets stuck sometimes. So, this system isn't focusing on helping you how to stop getting stuck, but this system is focused on how to move you from stammering, stuttering to an above average speaker, becoming an excellent, amazing speaker. Now, in the description, I've shared the link for the self study, and I've also shared my email address. What I'm doing these days is that I'm working as a Pro90d certified speech coach. So you can work with the self study course, and you can also get one on one coaching from me or Mr. Michael. Now, Mr. Michael is the main coach, and I'm now also working as a side coach. So, if you believe that you really want a one on one coach with you along this journey, then let me know on my email address, and we'll let you know about all the fee structure for that. And remember, be aware of the way that you're speaking, and wherever you catch yourself doing the things, stop. And what you have to do next is something that we are going to be discussing in the next video. Look out for that and see you in the next video. Thank you.